New week, new table talk subject. We are back, the trio. This is 2 weeks in a row. We're absolutely smashing it. Well done on the attendance front.
Thank you.
Moyo, James, Nancy, you know who we are. This week's question is, which WSL team has surprised you the most this season? I'm going to go first.
Yeah.
I've put Spurs.
With the old school.
With the old school S. That's my art for this week. And it's not for good reasons.
Ooh.
Okay. We'll leave it on that. Moyo, who you saying?
No, not regret, but okay.
West Ham. Okay.
Yeah.
We might all have different ones.
Yeah.
James?
Everton.
Everton. He tried to do a little pizzazz again. Can you see it in the E?
Easy E.
Okay, we've all... Oh, James, I'm going to come to you first. Everton, good or bad?
Good.
Okay,
Good.
let's go. Talk.
Lots of positives for Everton. I just believe that now they're actually using the budget wisely. Their young players are starting to come through and actually play well.
Okay.
I believe that they've got the right manager. I like Brian Sorensen. I didn't like Jean-Luc before. They've got the right man in. And it just seems like right now they're like, what? They're like fifth. They're not close to City, the Arsenals.
But they're ticking over well when they're
But
doing
they're
well.
getting there. They're like the best of the rest. And I think that's what we wanted from Everton.
I feel like they get left behind a lot as well because they're, as you say, like the best of the rest. It's just like, yeah, they're Everton. Yeah. They're fine.
And they've got a small fan base as well. So
Yeah.
no one's really fighting their corner.
Respectfully.
Okay, Moyo, West Ham, talk to me.
Yeah, I went with West Ham.
Irons.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It was a toss-up between them and Aston Villa, to be honest.
Okay.
But I went with West Ham because I was like, I kind of expected Aston Villa. Okay, go.
Positive, negative?
Positive.
Okay,
Positive.
cool. Oh, right. Well, it's just me
Positive.
that's the bad egg today.
Yeah.
Great.
I kind of expected Aston Villa to do well this season just because of the signings.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas at West Ham, I feel like their signings weren't as big, like outside of maybe like Vivian Asseyi.
Yeah.
I feel like their signings weren't big and it's more a case of they're utilising who they had before a lot better now. Yeah, and I went with them as well because I was just like, I feel like people thought they were going to be in a relegation scrap.
Okay.
Yeah,
this season. Do you remember?
People said that.
Like,
People, no, yeah.
people
facts,
were,
people said that.
like, I feel like they lost a good manager last season in Oli Harder. And I was like, like, Paul Konchesky's never managed in the league before. Like, how is he going to fare?
Yeah.
But I feel like he's gotten the squad together. I feel like his player management has been really good.
I think they really like him as well.
Yeah.
He followed me on Twitter, so I'm a fan. We're friends now, basically.
We are friends.
Yeah,
we
we're
are
boys.
friends. Yeah, they feel like it seems to me like they're enjoying it. And also, I feel like they are getting a style of play in the sense that even when they've gone to the teams that you would expect them to lose those games against, they're still representing their style of play quite well, as opposed to just sitting back the whole time. But yeah, I've been impressed with them.
Okay, cool. I like it. So you've both gone for positives.
Yeah.
Right. Mine's a bit of a negative one. I just expected them to be doing more with the caliber of players that they have. But I know they've got players out, yeah?
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, I thought, like, last season they had a decent little run. Do you know what I mean?
They were amazing last season.
But this
I feel like
but this is my
so
point.
good.
So like, that's me trying to underplay it. So
But
that's my point. They had a decent run, a good run.
Yeah.
They followed. They finished their highest that they'd finished, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought they were getting Champions League at one point.
I told you to stop that dream. Man.
But so I was like, okay, but this season they just maybe they haven't performed to how I thought they would.
Sure.
And this is like pre-Beth and Mana as well, like bringing them in. We're not going to talk about it.
Don't worry.
Right? We know what boat I'm on, it's fine. But yeah, so I was just a bit like, Spurs.
Yeah.
Like, it's like any Arsenal fan would say, like, it's Spurs being Spursy.
Yeah. I'm not shocked.
I just expected that's what I mean. So like, you lot have given positives, which is great. But for me, they've surprised me in a way that I didn't think they would be how they are this season.
Did you think they were good offensively last season?
Offensively or defensively?
Offensively.
Offensively, nah.
I swear they scored like the second least amount in the league and they finished fifth. Like, their whole points tally was made up of defense.
Yeah, it's just they had like the fourth best defense in the league.
Because they've got decent defenders. Like, I know they've got decent defenders. They've got good players. This is my point. They've got decent players. Yeah. It's not like
they're underperforming.
So then, who's to blame then? Because they've got the players.
Facts.
They've brought in better players.
I didn't want to say
it. Who's to blame then?
someone has to answer for the crimes.
That's the thing.
I'll be
Someone
Hey,
has to.
I'm not putting the blame on anyone. That's not my job. But that's not my job. I'd like to see what they're gonna do next with these two. But you can't bat on two players being that big difference. It needs to be a whole team, a whole management, a whole collective. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I said Spurs basically. And
I feel like Spurs have gone backwards from last season, but they've brought in better players. Like they've addressed their problems. And they've got worse because defensively, I think they're not as good as they were last season.
Yeah.
But they brought in Amy Turner, which is a quality defender. They've brought in attackers. They brought in Bizet from
she's
PSG.
one of those put her body on the line.
Yeah.
100%. Like she
no
will
finesse,
give you,
but she's a warrior.
She'll give you her all
I
on that
think
pitch.
Spurs have no identity, and the problem is.
I think they're still learning to play with each other as well.
As
A little. Do you know what I mean? Like developing as together. So it might be in some teams you have like certain players know how to play with each other in teams, in positions. But it has to be a collective. It can't just be like, okay, the defenders know exactly what they're doing with each other, but does that link into the midfield? Does that collective of the defence and the midfield match up to what you've got up top and delivering those balls in?
This
you
is
know
the
what I'm
thing
saying?
though, but now they've got actual strikers, I do think their defence is not going to improve. They were good last year, because they had defensive strikers. No, it's not. No, genuinely, they had some defensive strikers that like their best traits were like pressing and working hard, but not scoring. And them being hard-working players but not scoring meant that like the midfield got so much more support. So it then meant that the midfield could support the defense a lot more. Now they've got strikers that actually want to score. You can forget all that. You can forget all the nice bits of like.
There's a gap now.
There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a gap, and I feel like their defense is not necessarily going to improve, but they can offset it by scoring in games. So I feel like now's the time that like Rianne Skinner is going to be looked at in terms of like, okay, cool. How about your attacking players?
Yes.
How are your attacking players?
So you think there's going to be more eyes on her as a manager in terms of what she's doing with her players up top and how they're...
Yeah, because the argument was valid last season that she didn't have goal scorers. That was a valid
But now she's
got goal scorers.
Well, she's bringing goal scorers in. Okay.
Yeah, but also, you got to think, we're saying like Spurs, they need time to gel and stuff like that. But you could argue Man City lost their entire spine.
True.
They lost Caroline Weir, Georgia Stanway, Lucy Bronze, all those integral
Pure
players.
Walsh.
Yeah, as well. I wasn't even thinking about her. Add that as well. They lost all of that, and they've still managed a lot better than Spurs with younger players. Like this is a young core they're trusting.
I also just want to give a shout out to Bunny Shaw because, like, in general, because she's just banging in goals for fun, and I'm just here for it.
Yeah.
Here for it.
Okay, so we've got 3 different. Mine's a negative.
And ours are positive.
I feel like I'm gonna side with like
James.
Surprise.
I hear
but
that.
is it a surprise though?
Yes.
It is a surprise because they've had money before.
They
money
went
has
hell
never
last
been their
season.
issue.
Money's never spoken for Everton.
Money's never been their issue.
Yeah.
They got through countless managers last season.
Like
Like
it was like in, out.
There is no reason as to why you should
TV.
have 3 managers here in a 22-game season. Let's not be ridiculous. Now. Like, let's do you know what I mean? 3 managers in a 22-game season is ridiculous. So, and a lot of the players that they brought in are like his recommendation. So it was a case of
he
like...
He knows who he's bringing in.
Yeah.
He's not...
And it was more so... It is a surprise in the sense that like, okay, cool. You've used money before, but is this money going to be used wisely? And I feel like this is the first season in a while that it's like, okay, cool. That transaction makes sense.
Yeah.
You bringing in this person makes sense. I can see how this person aids.
And they're playing well, aren't they?
They are playing well.
They are playing really well. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to put my Spurs down. So I'm going to take Spurs out of the equation. I'm going to give my vote to James and Everton.
Okay, well then. Well then.
Well then.
Because right now we're 2 against 1. So, okay, let's. Okay, I'm not giving up my West Ham, but like we are 2-1.
The only reason why I would say not to West Ham is because I believe this year West Ham have just been corners. Like they've got someone that's really tall.
Yeah, big up Brynja's daughter.
They've said, you know what, sis?
Do you know what?
Every corner we're gonna find
you got to your advantage, you know.
And
that's what target.
That's what
women.
I feel like he's.
I'm not surprised by that. You used the tallest person on the pitch
But
over and over again.
The reason why I'm surprised at that, is that she didn't come this season.
Yeah.
She's been in that West Ham side, and for some reason it's only this season they've decided.
Yeah. Oh, you're really tall, you know.
Tall, you know. Like, oh my God, you're a lot taller than the defenders.
I wasn't familiar with your game, but
no, literally that. So yeah, I'll concede, and I'll say Everton, since they were one of the 3 that I would have put. So yeah, okay.
So to wrap it up, The WSL team that has surprised us the most this season is Everton. James, you got to win this week. You got to win. I think that's your first one in a while as well.
is.
Not to take it away from you. But, you know.
I was like Everton last season.
This has been Table Talk. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.